Spooktober is here, and you know what that means. Pumpkins, witches, ghosts and ghouls, treats that don't even remotely taste like candy or corn, and best of all, I can finally break out the Halloween mods. There are a lot of them out there, so I've grabbed 2 for all of our spooky needs. So grab a treat, turn out the lights, it's about to get mildly spooky. Before we dive into these campaigns, we're gonna need to spook up the place a bit. And for that, we have Demo's Halloween Extravaganza. This is a collection of 27 spooky mods to enhance your Halloween needs. I'm not going to go into everything in this pack as it's all visual, so you'll be seeing plenty of it as we go through this video. But let's take a quick look at our lovely survivors. We've got Frankenstein's Coach, Lore Accurate Keith, a Bloody Rochelle, and the strange case of Good Guy Nick and Mr. Jerk. With our survivors dressed up, let's start with a bit of an appetizer, the Haunted Bridge. This is a remake of the Parish finale, but haunted. Okay, well, maybe not haunted, not unless you count cardboard cutouts as ghosts. But New Orleans is definitely haunted, though. Throughout this map, you'll find a bunch of references to classic horror movies. Jason, Freddy, Chucky, this little jalapeno guy. They're all here. Likewise, this radio is now a bit from Scary Movie 1. After the crescendo starts, there's a radio here that can play Halloween music. I can't put enough quotes around Halloween. I can't play any of it for you because it's YouTube and all that. But it's a EDM track, so probably skip it if you want to stay in the mood. As for the bridge itself, it's now infested with witches. There are no less than 4 on this bridge, and considering the onslaught of skeletons, it's really easy to shoot them by accident. There's also a tank that appears halfway through the bridge as normal, and he is still an issue. I definitely didn't get filtered by this tank 4 times and have to sit through that bit over and over. I really gotta stop playing the TA mod. Anyway, Ghostface is waiting for you at the end of the bridge. It's just too bad that the helicopter isn't. Yeah, you need to hold out here for a bit before the real evac arrives. Assuming you kill the tank, this is pretty easy. Since the zombies all come from way over there, you just sit here on the gun and just wait. Eventually, Jack Sparrow will come to your rescue as more music that I can't play announces that the Black Pearl has arrived. So hop on and that's the map. As you can probably tell, this isn't the best map in the world. While the spooky theme is nice, the 4 Witches is a dubious addition. It's also super short, and I can't imagine a scenario where I'd only want to play the last map of the parish. If the whole campaign was spooked up, maybe. It works well enough to get us in the spirit, though. I just don't see myself playing it again anytime soon. Now for our main treat, Dead Center Halloween Edition.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, alright, look, I know, hear me out. This campaign is actually interesting, I swear. It's got a custom story, new events and hazards, and a ton of secrets. It also has some major blemishes, but we'll get to that. So first off, unlike the original Dead Center, this campaign has 5 chapters. That's because chapter 1 is a prologue that recaps the previous mods. Yeah, this mod is actually the finale in a trilogy, or a quadrilogy, or something. Look, it's complicated. But the previous 2 mods were Christmas themed, so we're skipping those. We start off with a waking up sequence, followed by a nice little set of dialogue. And with our Halloween pack, this room is extremely spooky. It's just too bad we can't leave. Like, at all. There's no way out of this room. Opening the door hits us with something out of a Kadikarus skit, and there's nothing else in this room. Nothing to interact with, no secret doors, the wall doesn't just randomly disappear. The mod page does recommend turning on director hints, but they never showed up for me, so that didn't really help. In fact, there isn't really much help to be found at all. The comment section on the mod page is disabled, and there's no notes in the changelogs. For a while, I thought this was a case of the mod author got angry, disabled his comments, and then bricked his own mod. I've seen that happen enough for it to be a real possibility. So I know it clipped out, and there is map past the bricks, but how in the world are you supposed to get past them? You can't shoot the bricks, you can't use the bricks, you can't shove the bricks. There's some way past them, surely. And there is. But if you're playing with bots, well...
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
In order to break these bricks, you need to hit them with a melee weapon. There is a single axe, or a rake in my case, laying on the bottom of this shelf. But here's the catch. Before you can even see what you're doing, Rochelle has already put her grubby little hands on it. And she's not letting go. Seriously, she'll take this to the grave. There is a way around this, sorta. During the opening cutscene, there's a brief moment where you can't move as your camera is locked in place on this chair. There's also an even briefer moment where you can move before the cutscene ends. Even though your camera is still locked in place, you can move and grab the rake. You just need to be either very good, lucky, or persistent. Thankfully, if nothing, I'm the latter. So grab the rake and you can finally leave this first room. It only took me about 30 minutes of troubleshooting, but we're there. Alright, that's a lot of negatives for the starting room. So let's focus on the positive, at least for a while. Once you get out of the starting room, you get introduced to one of the cooler features of this campaign. This mini icon is one of the many secrets scattered throughout. There's one on each level, and they reveal a little backstory on the mod. Once outside, you slow down to a crawl as big bright text pops up with the story so far. Basically, in 2023, the Penguin Mafia captured the survivors. The year after that, Jack Frost took over the world, and then Jack Frost was eventually defeated, but it cost Lewis and Bill their lives. Now Jack Frost has returned, and also the Penguin Mafia is still around, I guess. That's all of the first chapter. You just gotta get through this door here. Just get in there. Ellis, come on. Ellis, the door. Go through the door, please. I just want to go to the next level, please. It's been so long, I want to shoot something. Chapter 1 was a little rough. Chapter 2 is much better, and this is where the campaign starts proper. You start by popping out of the closet on the roof of the hotel. It's nighttime, and there's plenty of skeletons everywhere. But before you move on, head behind the closet to find this second icon. Apparently Jack Frost is a robot. That's interesting. Near the original starting zone, we get a breaking news bulletin. It's got the usual stuff, a violent outbreak of mannequins, an invasion of the Penguin Mafia.
But it don't stop there, folks. There's witnesses saying they saw a pirate ship sailing and a crazy man screaming, "Why's the rum gone?"
And a drunken man on a pirate ship. That's oddly familiar. Anyway, the level continues as normal until you get to the elevator, which is now broken. Instead, you can climb down to the first floor. The layout here's changed a bit. There's not nearly as much fire as usual, and you can head left and find two separate secret rooms, one with an M60 and another with a noob tube. You also can't get to the kitchen or the event hall, instead there's a shortcut through here. Chapter 3 starts off relatively normal until you find a glowing bride hanging out next to the maintenance room. This is a ghost enemy, and by that I mean it's a fake special infected. These guys are completely hollow and will just stand there.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
They're here to make you shoot at ghosts and waste bullets, and they are surprisingly effective. The rest of the campaign is scattered with them, and I fall for it every time. Thousands of hours of muscle memory have left me with the innate reflex to spray down anything even slightly resembling a special infected. So, props to the mod author for putting in something actually kinda scary. Exiting the maintenance tunnels, you can head right to find a mysterious door. Inside, you'll find a sign that really needs help fixing his TV. Heading the other way is where we can finally encounter the Penguin Mafia. Well, technically there were a couple I skipped over, but this is the first one that is directly in your face. These penguins are deadly. Getting too close to them and you'll start taking Tommy gun fire, which will rapidly drain your health. Like the ghost enemies, there are plenty more of these guys you'll have to dodge throughout the rest of the campaign. You'll tend to find them next to their mafioso cars or in groups, so you shouldn't accidentally stumble into them anymore. So past a couple more penguins and a very effective tank jump scare, you make it to Whitaker's. That is one benefit of working with a vanilla campaign. Everyone has years of practice playing it. You know where things spawn, what areas are safe, so the mod author knows exactly where to put enemies and ghosts to induce the most panic. The perfect way to subvert expectations. And it didn't even cost Disney $200 billion. Anyway, Whitaker's not even there, it's just the tank. Instead, you cut through the grocery store after disabling the alarm. There's a group of penguins blocking the route to the other side of the tanker, but if you squeeze around them, you can find another secret room. The entrance to the mall is mostly the same, save for this giant pirate ship crashed into the front. Seems like Jack Sparrow may have had one too many. Too bad he's not here. Instead, we find this chapter's Otacon, who freely admits that the author couldn't think of anything to do with Jack Sparrow, so he's not even in this mod. Alright, we've had 2 chapters of mostly positives, so let's go back to doing a little bit of negative. Chapter 3 is rough. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun chapter, it's just... Look, the bots are idiots. This chapter introduces some evil mannequins. These lads roam around the mall with their ominous glowing red eyes, and anyone unfortunate enough to get close will just burst into flames. I wiped over and over and over at this alarm crescendo because the bots would just get stuck fighting next to one and then just slowly burn to death. And, the event's not even hard. I would just eventually get boned by a special because I refused to leave before I found the next Otacon. He's over here, by the way, right at the very end. If you're playing with friends, this chapter's a non-issue. It's super easy and short. It's just the bots, they don't know what to do when there's a moving fire source. There are a couple good highlights here, though. You can find the Taco Lord over in this store, and if you complete his fetch quest, you get a coupon for unlimited free tacos for life, which, I mean, how can you say no to that? That seems pretty good. There's also some minor rerouting involving going through this tiny computer store, where we'll finally hear from Jack Frost for the first time. I'm just realizing that we have both Jack Sparrow and Jack Frost. Weird. Anyway, unsurprisingly, he's evil on the computer and he has Zoe and Francis held captive. You know, the usual stuff. So assuming that you do survive the crescendo, which can have a tank spawn, by the way, that's the end of chapter 4. Well, it's finally time to confront Jack Frost. And after walking down a very normal hallway, you make it to the atrium. A cutscene starts showing Jack driving a hearse through the front doors of the mall. He yells for you to come down so you can talk about your differences, which I'm sure it'll be fine. Just ignore all the plastic explosives that line every inch of this room. The elevator is out, so you'll have to climb down these ladders over here instead. I actually missed this the first time around, and it was only thanks to the bots autopathing down there that I figured out where to go. So, +1 for the bots, I guess. Checking over this entire room, you could find the final Otacon just past Jack. He gives you a code to a secret room back in chapter 2, and we'll get there. Confronting Jack himself, he reveals that he's hooked himself up to a dead man switch. If he kills you, he wins. If you kill him, everyone dies, and he still wins. But that only matters if you actually value your life, so let's blow him up. After the cutscene ends, Jack becomes a bigger and deadlier version of the penguins, which is an insane sentence now that I say it out loud. He still doesn't move, so that shouldn't be a problem, and Coach is dead. Great, thanks. There are defib kits around, so the bots will try to revive him just for him to go right back down. This goes on for a while. In the meantime, your objective is to fix 13-ish speakers around the atrium. Fixing all of them will let the Banshee Bride scream her heart out and explode everything. This isn't too hard. The infinite coach loop kept most of the infected busy, but I could see this getting really annoying if a jockey grabs you at the wrong time. But that's just normal dead center for you. After finally fixing all the speakers and turning on the microphone, the bride screams and causes everyone to explode. To be honest, if it ended here, that'd be totally fine. We don't negotiate with terrorists after all. But you wake up after the explosion. Jack is dead, and so are Zoe and Francis. Rip them, I guess. But more importantly, the mysterious G-Man ghost has finally decided to talk. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention him. This guy's been following you throughout this entire campaign. He has an offer you can't refuse, so you follow him to the Divide. There's a whole lot of exposition here, so to summarize, this is a place between worlds, or more specifically, workshop maps. Each of these doors leads to a different workshop campaign, which the survivors have inadvertently been going through. Instead of offering you a job, the G-Man is offering you a chance to leave. You can finally be rid of all this nonsense. All you have to do is enter the red door at the very end of the hall. So after walking for a fair bit of time, you enter the room of many doors. In here you see all the other campaigns linked to this one, and oh my god, they were actually linked this whole time. Jack Sparrow is lore accurate to the Left 4 Dead campaign. You know what, let's just pass by that. Ignoring my brain melt for a bit, there are a couple of other maps by the creator in here, including a mysterious door that mentions a deleted map. Approaching the gate, it opens up and you go through the door, and that's the end. G-Man says you'll meet again, and credits roll. Overall, this is a fun, if unpolished campaign. It clearly wasn't designed with bots in mind, or at least the dumb bots I have. But I'm sure playing with friends would be a great time. I really like the ghosts. They make a great addition to make you second guess basically everything you know about a map you've played 1,000 times. I even got at one point because I ignored a hunter thinking he was another ghost. Good stuff. The long lore dump at the end and the couple of wonky bot spots probably means you won't be adding this to your map rotation, but for a once a year spook, I think it works pretty well. If they're on the same level of quality, I definitely want to check out the Christmas maps this author made, though there's a lot of winter themed competition out there. And speaking of other maps, we still have to enter that secret room.
You found the passcode. Great job. Come on in, but be quick. Snake doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Hey, you guys must be the survivors, right? Sorry you had to see this. You came too early. This secret was to confirm VR Mission's remaster map, but yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't wait around. This gate won't open until mid-2025. You'll be waiting a while.
Well, it's probably a bit past mid-2025 at this point, but I should be the last one talking about missed deadlines. But who knows? Maybe mid-2025 is today. You never know, you should check. But that's gonna do it for us today. Like any actual bag of candy on Halloween, it had its ups and downs, and I hope you've had a good time. Next time, we'll be headed to a different Source game for something a little more spooky.